In the Horn of Africa, over 3,000 people a day are fleeing their homes in search of food and water in urban cities due to Somalia's worst drought in 20 years. The drought has decimated harvest and livestock in the country, posing the threat of renewed famine 6 years after a similar crisis in which 260,000 people died.
The Al Adala camp in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, has seen an increase in the number of people arriving in recent weeks as they search for food and water in a country facing a devastating drought. More than 400,000 people have been displaced since November by the drought, with tens of thousands fleeing to southern cities like the Mogadishu and Baidoa. When Nalo Nura lost her child and other members of her family to hunger, she decided to leave her home in the lower Shabelle region to find food for the rest of the family. The 26-year-old arrived at the camp on March 25th with her 3 daughters and son. Since the drought began, I've lost my daughter, my uncle and my grandfather. I left home with the family after they died. There was too much hunger. There was no water to drink or for washing. That is why we left. Nalo's husband decided to stay behind to take care of the homestead and also recover from an undisclosed illness. She and her children are among 295 families who arrived recently at Al Adala, joining the 1,114 already living in the camp. The cramped makeshift shelters made from wood and polypropylene bags act as shelter for the displaced. More than 6 million Somalis have the population need emergency aid, including close to 1 million acutely malnourished children. Families have abandoned dying cattle to beg for food in urban areas where food prices are spiraling. The camp currently survives on donations from local residents and businesses and is in dire need of additional humanitarian aid. According to the International Organization for Migration, IOM, thousands are also fleeing to neighboring Ethiopia, where drought is also causing immense hardship, with more than 100,000 people displaced since the start of the year. The drought has decimated harvests and livestock in the war-torn country, posing the threat of renewed famine 6 years after a similar crisis in which 260,000 people died. It was not like this in 2011. We had some water flowing in the river, but in this drought, there is no water, no food, and there is absolutely nothing to eat. Even finding water to drink is a challenge. However, in 2011, we had some water in the wells, but now the wells have dried up. The WHO says cholera has spread into 2/3 of Somalia's 18 regions, with thousands congregating in cities where they are forced to drink water infected with deadly bacteria. More than 300 people have died and almost 16,000 cases have been reported since January.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, says an outbreak of meningitis in Nigeria has killed 282 people in recent weeks. As of Thursday, March 30, 1,966 suspected cases of meningitis were reported, with 282 deaths in 15 of the country's 36 states. The center also says on its website that 33 people died of meningitis in 2016. Meningitis is the inflammation of tissue surrounding the brain and spinal cord, which can be caused by viral or bacterial infections.
So there have been 1,966 suspected cases altogether, and 109 have been laboratory confirmed. Of these, sadly, we've had 282 deaths. Now, the states most affected have been Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi, and Niger states. In Zamfara, where we had our first case and which is affected the most, we've had 44 confirmed cases. In Katsina, there have been 32. In Sokoto, there have been 19, Kebbi 10, and Niger 4. So these are the 5 most affected states in Nigeria at the moment. The plan is to be much better in pre-positioning antibiotics and diagnostic media in those states so that we can respond a lot earlier. It's very sad that we've had so many deaths, and we're going to work a lot harder with states in the future to prevent them.